Yo, yo, yo. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to episode number 63 of the Lenko Show. I'm talking really, really quickly today. Me and Chris really excited to talk to you. Uh, that was a fast start, out the gate, quick. So recently I've been speaking to Eleanor Karma and Coach Clark Gardner about their experiences with coaching kids PE in schools, the responsibility that parents have. And it's kind of got me and Chris thinking a little bit. Chris is here today as well, by the way. Say hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
Rather than such a dick, rather than pulling fully faces to the camera. And it's got me and Chris thinking about sort of when we first started and our beginnings of training, if you like. So you don't just get from A to Z like that. You've got to go through the rest of the alphabet first. So, well, we're not even at Z, are we? We're probably, where would you say you are?
I am level 465 in gym.
Yep. So you don't get from level 1 to level 465 in gym or adult PE straight away, do you? So we're just gonna have a little bit of a chit chat about that and hopefully divulge some lessons, some useful stuff, some boring stuff. No, I'm only joking because no one wants boring. Some funny stuff and things that we've done along the way, and then you can use it yourself. You can hit other people with it. So, Chris, let's get into you first. You're the younger one, so you've had less mess ups than me because I've taught you all the stupid shit, and you've decided and made better decisions and done things slightly differently. That would be
It would be safe to assume that you would be incorrect in assuming that. You know me well, Alex. I make lots of mistakes and I'm very silly anyway. So I too made lots of interesting decisions and experimented in lots of different ways. Sean, we almost did that podcast on the weird things people have eaten.
Yeah.
Probably could have made a podcast just on the weird things that I've eaten. None of them was weird as or extreme as scorpions and stuff, but there was just some interesting combinations, like blending your chicken and your rice together and stuff like that.
I mean, I would add, no one's got in touch about giving you the opportunity to eat a cobra heart yet. You know, where they bring the snake out to the table, kill it in front of you, and then give you the heart and pour blood into it. No one's got in touch with an opportunity for you on that. So you're safe for now. But yeah, carry on.
It's a big shame, to be honest, because I was looking forward to getting involved with that. So
it's just a general reminder for you listening: if you have access to a king cobra and you wouldn't mind killing it for Chris to eat the heart, that would be pretty sick. Get in touch.
I feel like the beginning's always interesting for people because that is when you do make lots of mistakes and that's when you do silly things. And I can safely say I was one of those people that, you know, all the myths and the fallacies surrounding health and fitness. I was one of the people that tested them to the extremes. Like I said on my story this morning, the anabolic window, I, for a moment in time, believed that it was about 5 minutes long and therefore would have as much protein as possible immediately after the workout in order to maximize and maintain muscle growth. I've tried cramming 100 grams of protein in of milk in a day, which I did measure out. I've had the chicken and tuna omelets with 6 eggs every day for the 3 months, and it made me ill, very ill. I've tried meal prepping 2 weeks worth of food in one go and not properly refrigerating it.
Oh, you disgusting human. Why would you do that?
Well, I did refrigerate it, but there was let's say, transfer from one establishment to another establishment, whereby said meal prep was somewhat potentially neglected.
What did you make? What did you make that you left in the fridge for like 2 weeks?
Oh, God, no. Didn't leave it in the fridge for 2 weeks. It was, I'd meal prepped 2 weeks worth of food.
Yeah.
And transferred from one location to another location.
Yeah, I get that. What did you make? Understand what I'm saying?
It was just chicken, rice, and broccoli, mate. It was nothing exciting.
You know, that's not worth prepping 2 weeks worth of food for that, is it? Chicken, rice, and broccoli. You can knock that up in 5 minutes. Carry on. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, either way, I ended up, I was staying elsewhere. So I was staying somewhere for 2 weeks. So I'd taken this stuff with me and not properly refrigerated it. And then made myself ill after like day one. So 2 weeks worth of food prep was just fucking wasted.
I mean, 2 weeks worth of food prep would have been wasted anyway, because what you're making lasting for 2 weeks.
Well, exactly. But this is my point. I made the
2 or 3
mistake.
days, and I know some people that do bulk meal prep and they'll space out like 5 tubs through the week, and I just think, just get fucking life, eat something nice. And
I didn't believe in freezers, is what we need to take from this. And I'd steamed it all as well. I thought, wow, I am the definition. I'm the epitome of health here. Steamed chicken, broccoli, and rice.
all the right intentions with none of the execution.
Yeah.
Nice.
But in other news, so I first started in the gym, I think it was 13 or 14. So it was whatever your age you are in year 9, because that was when you were first allowed into the school gym. And I was real lucky because I did not want to go into the gym, but Matty, my best mate, really did. So I accompanied him one day, and I'm not going to name drop the PE teachers' names, but I was laughed out of the gym. This is a true story, because I just could not comprehend how to squat.
Really?
So one of the teachers was trying to teach me. Yeah, I know it's baffling because I've got such a fantastic squat now, but in the beginning, I was laughed out of the gym because I just did not get it. And I was doing it. I had a bar on my back. There was no weight on it. And they were like, yeah, you sit down with the bar. Just sit down. So I'm sitting down the way I would sit down. And obviously it's not going according to plan. So there was lots of, it was harmless laughter. It was like they were laughing because I was like, I don't get it. What? I just don't understand. But yeah, that's what happened. That was my first ever gym experience. Oh, and I had the standard. You get underneath the barbell bench press with the empty bar, probably a training bar as well, by the way, not a full Olympic. And then you take it off, you rack it off, and you just sort of like your neuromuscular signals are just all over the place, and you're like shaking like this, like whoa. That was my experience as well.
That's an interesting thing. I'm just trying to think back. Do I remember the first time I tried to do a bench press? Because I think it must have been like that. It must have been like you lift the bar, you hold it up, and you just think, fucking hell, this is just weird. Start with push-ups, kids. Start with push-ups. Learn to push your body weight. And if you're a really fat kid, start with dumbbells.
Wall press.
Bit easier. If you can't control your body weight, if you can't push your body weight, that's going to be a problem. But build up to it. Build some fundamental strength and the correct movement pattern first. I know too many people that actually start on push-ups and they just completely screw up the positioning. Hands too high, elbows flaring out, shoulders getting the crap kicked out of them. Don't do it. If your fingers are pointing towards each other, you're fucking all over. You're messing it up. So that's interesting because I never knew. Like, imagine that, you getting laughed out of the gym. No one would believe that. If you could post about that on Instagram now, right? And no one would believe that.
I'll tell you what else, mate. I'll tell you what else.
We should do a remake. We should do a remake of this.
What do you mean? What, a remake of me getting laughed out of the gym?
Yeah. Get all your mates together in the gym. Try and do your dicky squat and get everyone laughing at you because you can't squat. What would you do tomorrow if you woke up, right? Because you're pretty competent in the gym now. Imagine like overnight your abilities of physical movement just bang, go, vanish. What would you do?
Well, I wouldn't squat, that's for sure.
You know, like if someone, like, you know, when you get all these mega rich people and they go, oh, if I lost all my money tomorrow, I'd be able to start again. I'd do it straight away. I know how to do it. I can make money out of nowhere, man. Like, if you just lost all your physical powers when it comes to exercise and training, what would you do? Would you go in and start again?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I'd have to.
See, that's the thing. You have to. Do you?
It's a good point, actually. Well, I suppose.
Why do you have to? Because I think one of the topics I want to delve into in a bit is like the motivation to get started. Because I think you got dragged in there by one of your best mates, didn't you? So you were just like kind of going with the flow kind of thing.
Yeah.
Was that your motivation to start?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Originally, he got me in for the very first session, and then he dragged me in a couple more times over the next few weeks.
And
And
then
then after that,
what happened?
I provided my own. So actually, incidentally enough, he got really, really good results. So he went a lot. He went very, very frequently. He went very consistently. And he became known as the gym guy in our school.
Say that again. Say that again.
You're not going to believe this, but he went very frequently.
Boom. Go again. Next bit.
He went 5 days a week very consistently for probably 3 months.
Holy shit.
And I noticed, as well as everyone else did, because everyone started referring to him as the gym guy and asking him to sense his biceps. Shockingly, we realized that actually he'd got really good results. And then I thought, there might be something in this. So that's what I started doing.
And like, so why did you start doing it? Did you just think, oh, fucking hell, I kind of like the results he's getting? Or did you like the attention he was getting? Or did you just think, do you know what? I just want to be more like that?
It was a combination of, I really liked the results. And I was, in my head, I always wanted to be an athlete. And I realized when he was getting in great shape that it was something that was going to really, really help me achieve that goal of being an athlete and being athletic. Because the way I looked at it was he had become, yes, bigger, but he'd also become stronger, which I realized was absolutely essential to being a good athlete. And so I was like, right, well, if this is how you get stronger, and this is what I need to do. And when I went in, for me, I didn't get the same results he got because I didn't necessarily train the same way. I think when you first start, you tend to veer toward, unless you've had some guidance or anything like that. We didn't have that. We just got in there and we just did whatever. There was very minimal kit. There was a leg curl and a leg extension. There was a bar to do squats, and there was a rowing machine that I never touched because why would I do that? A bench press, some dumbbells. So what we used to do was I did lots and lots of leg extensions, lots and lots of leg curls, and decline dumbbell bench press because that was what I could get the most weight up on. And naturally, being around other people in school, in a school gym, it was ego lift central. So it was, what can you lift the most weight on? Let's do that. And I obviously, naturally doing lots of leg extensions and leg curls, my legs became very strong, became very big. And because I was a sprinter, I noticed differences in my sprinting and in my running. And at that time, at that age, like I was significantly faster than everyone as a result of it. Like not just a little bit, like as you get older and stuff like that, the kind of not the window, but the people who are much, much better, it's a far bigger world. So there's far less of you that are that much better. And there's far more people who are that good. So you all filter into the same bubble. Whereas when you're just condensed into 30 people, or let's say there was 100 boys in our year, there wasn't, but let's say there was. Like for someone to be really, really, really fast, there was a low chance of that. But then as you get older, or you come up against other sprinters and stuff, obviously you're going to find more and more people that are like that. At that age, there wasn't as many that were as fast.
Yeah. That talent pool, as you get older, as you grow up, that talent pool expands, doesn't it?
That's exactly it. And you find them, and you come up against them. So for me, it was performance stuff because my body didn't, if I'm honest, really change a great deal. In fact, I remember in that first 3-month period, I took my top off in the changing rooms one day, getting ready for PE, and someone actually said to me, someone laughed at me again and said, "Do you even go to the gym, you? I thought you went to school gym every day." And then that was it for me. That was a little click in my head. I'm like, I will fucking show you, son. I will show you. And I made sure I started going.
You don't know me.
Made sure I started going even harder. So, yeah. that was the beginning. That was the beginning. That was where it all started.
See, I was a little bit different. Like, obviously, you saw your mate getting results and thought, do you know what? Like, I want that. That'll help me. You made a conscious decision to go and execute. I was more in the mindset of like, I always knew that fitness had helped me. And I always knew it was like a missing piece. Like, even from playing football as a kid, like, I always felt, because I struggled with my asthma and breathing, I always thought, fuck me, like, I can't run. I can't breathe. Like, I just didn't feel fit enough and just wanted to be fitter, to be more capable, because I felt like I had a reasonable skill level. Like, I mean, we were both pretty good at, well, don't really want to brag, but we were both pretty good at most things as kids. Like, we played every single sport we possibly could, didn't we? So, and then playing against each other and competing against each other, it was always a bit of the back garden was always a bit of a battleground. But I just remember going into the gym and just thinking, fucking hell, I just don't want to be a fat fuck. I want to be fit. I want to be healthy. I want to be lean. I want to look good. I want to be able to run. And never even really had a blueprint. Never really had anything to follow. Never really had a program. Never really had a strategy. And I think like what I know now, mate, if I could transport back in time and just go, right, here you go, boy, fucking do this. Like, I do wonder how different things would have been. And like this is where the difference in education and kids growing up. And if we actually really want athletes to improve, sport to improve, people to be fitter and healthier in general, like, you've got to start when you're young. You've got to get on top of it from an early age. You've got to learn how to move, learn how to train, learn how to eat, learn how to manage your mindset, because I think that's one of the other key things that comes into it. Like, the discipline of, at 14 years old, after school, like, you are allowed to leave. You can go home. Like, you can go home, sit and play on video games, go and play on COD, Modern Warfare, crack that out. Like, what a game, by the way. And you can do that for the rest of your evening. You can go and sit and play on RuneScape if you want and chat shit on MSN, well, you could do back then.
I did do those things.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I did.
and you ate multiple packets of crisps while you did as well. But I just remember thinking, like, you've got the opportunity there where you can take the easy way out. You can go and be comfortable at home. You can go and sit around doing fuck all, watching TV, eating shit, and then go to football training later. Or you can actually get your ass down to the school gym and do a bit of a workout. Even if you don't really know what you're doing, you just go and hit things and just play around with stuff. Like, I just remember being really good at the lat pull down. And I actually spent quite a bit of time on the road, because we used to have like little lunchtime competitions where there was a leaderboard. It was like, right, who can do the fastest 2,000 meters? Or we do 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, or we do like team relays where you jump on and off and you literally just kill yourself, but you feel pumped afterwards. And that's the feeling I remember from doing that. Actually, I just remember feeling pumped. I remember feeling like my forearms were going to explode. And I thought, this is mint. I'm all right with this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I do, but I never had that. We never did the rowing. I stayed well away from that. I was always at break time and stuff. I was always running around playing football anyway. So the time that I wasn't spending, like, sat down in school or sat down playing Call of Duty, I was always running around playing football or playing TIG or some weird Star Wars game outside with my friends anyway. So
I always tell people, they always, whenever anyone says to me, like, oh, you're so competitive. Why are you so competitive? Why don't you calm down and just enjoy it? Just go, look, it's naturally in me. Me and my brother, we used to have to compete. Like, if you had a fight, the person that won got to eat. And that's why I'm the fatter brother.
wow. Wow.
Sorry, bro. It's true though, isn't it? Apart from the eating bit. So, as a kid growing up, obviously when you get introduced to the bench press, and then everyone goes, ooh, look at your pecs, sexy muscles, big, like, bro exercise. What are the mistakes that you made? Did you get hooked into all that kind of shit? Because I certainly did. I was like,
Oh,
bench,
absolutely.
bench. How much
First of all, though,
bench press? How much more can you get on the bench press?
so let me start by saying no one ever said that to me. No one ever says that. Only other guys say that to you. So if you're a guy listening to this and you're wondering if I get in shape, will girls start saying things like that to me? No, they fucking won't. Other guys will start saying shit like that to you. So be careful what you wish for. And also, absolutely, I did, because that's what you do. It's just, well, at least it was what you did back then. I remember, like I said, we used to smash the decline dumbbell bench because we found that we could go heavier on a decline press than we could on a flat. Then spent a long time practicing flat bench at Berry Castle Leisure Centre. So I remember there was a time when me and Matty used to bench press 3 or 4 times a week. There was a lady who was, and I don't remember what the official term was, but a Paralympian. She had no legs, but she used to do the bench press. And we used to watch, and we used to watch her, and we used to talk to her. And I remember her saying to us about, like, she's got to fucking keep doing it. Like, to be fair, she didn't teach us many great lessons, but one of them was frequency. Just keep doing it. If you want to get good at bench press, practice bench press. Like, it was fairly simple. So we did it. We took that very literally. Like, we didn't have a plan or anything either. There wasn't a blueprint. Social media, Facebook came out when I was in year 9, so that year, but we didn't give a fuck about it. We just wanted to get big and strong. So we started smashing the bench press, and I remember we were trying to. There's a video of me at 16 years old. I'm going to try and find it. I pray that Matty's got it, but there's a video of us. I've got a Superman t-shirt on. He's got a Batman t-shirt on. It's really funny. And I unwrapped this bench, and it's got 120 kilos on it. And I literally, so imagine it's from in front. So I'm like this, and I go and rack it back. And then, yes. So if anyone who's listening who didn't see that, I basically pretended to unrack a barbell, bent my elbows about an inch, and then pushed it back up. And 100%, I absolutely believe that I have got the triceps that I have got nowadays because me and Matty spent so long smashing narrow, close grip, like quarter range bench press. So we're just extended through the elbow. So we're just smashing our triceps for weight that we absolutely could not and should not be pushing for so long.
I will add that is actually a mint way to just grow your triceps. So for anyone that wants to like get your triceps out on Instagram later on, give them a little bit of a flex, like let the people see what they're missing out on. If you do narrow or close grip bench press, even if it's like a quarter rep, like a lot of the time I recommend doing this with like a foam roller or a couple of blocks on your chest so you can't actually hit that full range movement to snag your elbows and mess them up. But certainly doing partial range of movement where you're coming to about 90 degrees of the elbow and then pushing up from there is actually a mint power position to be in. So massively, massively recommend using that as a technique. So definitely give that a blast.
Yeah, boy.
So other mistakes you made. What else did you mess up when you started?
So, as previously stated, I did not have a plan at the very start, which was, I don't know if I would call that a mistake, but it meant falling into the trap of making the mistake of training the things that you enjoyed training and neglecting the things that you did not want to train, which is always the things that you struggle with or found hard or hurt. So you neglected all the things that actually you had the most to gain from. Which fortunately for me wasn't legs. I never didn't like training legs because I started, like I said, on leg extension, which meant I did a lot of leg extensions. However, I didn't train any functional movement patterns. Well, not knowingly. I trained the bench press too much. The other thing is I did the standard young lad bodybuilder ego lifting thing whereby I drastically reduced range of motion to lift more weight and smashed my joints to pieces. I did a very, very significant DTP protocol plan at one point, which was basically moving as much weight as possible for sets of like 5 at the most, without really having learned the skill of moving through certain lifts, if that makes sense. So I was doing, obviously I'd realized, okay, well, clearly I need to be training my whole body, and I need to not just do chest. When I finally realized to not just do chest and arms, I realized, right, I need to do chest, I need to do back, I need to do front of legs, I need to do back of legs. But then when I started doing those things, I wasn't doing them right. I was doing them, yes, I was doing them, but I was doing them in an ineffective way. It was just breaking me. Then there was no real focus on recovery ever. It was just go and get it done. Suppose you can get away with that a little bit more when you're younger, but not when you are smashing yourself to pieces, lifting as much weight as possible. I did not believe in the art of, I guess it is recovery. I thought I need to be hitting the same weight every single time or more, or hitting more reps. So I was never shy of training hard, which I think a lot of people go in and they don't train hard enough. For me, I didn't have that issue. I went in and I was ready to go at it. But the problem with that was I gave myself huge setbacks by giving myself bicep tendonitis, shoulder impingements, inflammation in the shoulder. I don't know if you remember, but even a few years in, I smashed my spine, which was more like glute piriformis, but doing some deadlift stuff when I first started dabbling with them. It was like, right, how much weight can I get through a deadlift before learning how to deadlift properly, which is a very, very common thing, but fundamentally one of the most crucial things that you can do when you start lifting. I set myself back probably, so I caused an injury deadlifting when I didn't know how to deadlift. I didn't deadlift again for probably 2 years after that, which is 2 years worth of progress and development that I could have been making. And not only that, but it's such a big fundamental exercise. It's posterior chain, so with glutes, hamstrings, lower back, fundamental to absolutely everything. I wanted to be a sprinter. I wanted to be a footballer. Well, with football, you do a lot of running, you do a lot of forward motion. Hamstrings get nice and tight and weak compared to your quads, which are being primarily used. And then sprinting, obviously same situation. So to neglect your hamstrings is just an injury waiting to happen. And that was the position I was putting myself in, because I was, like I said, I was focused on trying to get as big and strong as possible to become the best athlete I could, rather than focusing on working on weaknesses. And I didn't do any accessory movements. I think I understood the concept of, if I wanted to be strong, I need to move heavy weights. If I wanted to be fast, I need to move weights quickly. If I wanted to be powerful, I need to be powerful in what I was doing. I think I understood that. But the execution, so the idea was there, I guess, but the execution was poor. Then, following that, coming back from those things, the other big mistake I made was going into more bodybuilding whilst still trying to be an athlete. And the reason I say that is because I then got tied into, and this is very normal, by the way, for like, I think I must have been 17 or 18 at that point. And you know this, we sat down, we had conversations, and you were not laughing at me, but you were kind of making it very clear that I should look at the way that I was seeing and thinking about things. I think at that stage I very much valued the way things appeared rather than what they were on myself and on other people. I became very superficial, and the focus of the gym was then how I looked, and then I became very insecure as a result of that, because that's what you're breeding. That's what happens. So that probably set me back mentally 2 years, which is hard to say because mentally I'm not necessarily all there anyway. But I think it damaged what I was like socially and like certain relationships that I had going on. So I made that mistake. Then I made mistakes with nutrition, such as not. I thought because I was young, I could get away with eating whatever I wanted. Then I realized I couldn't, but I was going to try if it fits your macros. Did you ever do that?
Yeah, so I've always dabbled with that kind of thing, but my nutrition, I've never really got my nutrition to the point where I've focused on it to the minute details. Like I've been through a period where I've done a program and I've done that twice. The first one was when I initially started as a PT, and I thought, right, I'm going to do the full blown, like low carb, get shredded, like put myself through the same kind of diet that a weight loss client would eat. So a little bit of calorie restriction, cutting down on all the junk food, which are like the quick, easy carbohydrates that normally you'd kind of use those for a little bit of fuel or a little bit of fast eating, just to get the energy in. And then the other time was when I was recovering from my injury with my broken ankle, and I thought, right, I don't want to get fat. Was number one. Well, I'm on my crutches, and number two, when I come back, I want to be in sick shape. And I managed to pretty much stay lean through the entirety of the injury. And then when I got back, I managed to build a lot of lean muscle mass. So I didn't put any body fat back on. And that was the point where I was just focusing on, again, slight calorie restriction and very high protein, just trying to rebuild that muscle mass. So they're the two times that I've really focused on my diet, what I'm eating. But other than that, I pretty much eat the same sort of stuff day in, day out, and keep a bit of a balance to it. And then I'll keep an eye on my weight. Like now and again, I'll check in with myself. I'll weigh myself. Like I weighed myself the other day and I thought, all right. Like when we did the CFL combine earlier this year, I tipped in at just under 100 kilos. And I thought at that point, yeah, I don't want to be 100 kilos. So I've made the conscious decision that I'm going to get back down to sort of 90 kilos as my body weight rather than be up near triple figures. Like I know linemen that aren't that heavy. So I don't want to be living in that world. The next thing you know, you get recruited to play lineman. So yeah, when it comes down to diet and nutrition, I tend to keep it pretty simple, but then I will make a conscious decision of, right, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do it. And now I know, like for me, it's easy, like to adjust foods, adjust what I'm eating, adjust my routine, change the way I'm training slightly. I know how to do it. Like I can tell people to do it in 5 seconds. I'd pretty much do it on this podcast whenever we talk about it. But the problem is a lot of the time people don't implement it or they're not held accountable. So I think, again, the big thing for me with all of this is like as a kid going through training and growing up, like, yeah, you've made loads of mistakes, but then everyone you've made is a learning curve or a stepping stone to the next level. Like, when you play a video game as a kid and you get to the boss level at the end of Sonic or whatever it is you're playing, and you get the shit kicked out and you think, oh, fucking hell, like I've thought that, I've got to start again. So you do it again, and then you get the shit kicked out of you again. But you do a little bit better each time, and eventually you get past that level. Like you almost have to go through that bit of a beating to be able to graduate and push further. So for me, if I can save kids the time, if I can save any person the time and the mistakes that I made and you made, we made, if I can save those from happening, then I'll be happy because we know how to get results. We can tell you how to get results in about 5 seconds. It's easy. We'll show you how to do it, but don't fuck up. Can save you the fuck up.
And I think some mistakes, they just have to be, you can only learn them by making them. Like there's certain things that I was like, you're aware, like you have an understanding that it's something that you probably shouldn't do or something that wouldn't necessarily work for you, but you think as a competitive, driven, young male, and some females too, that you can just deal with it anyway, and then you can crack on, you can push through that sort of thing. But a lot of the time, you actually have to make the mistake to realize, you know what, actually, this probably isn't the way I want to go about it. And I think making it work for you is all about that. You've experimented with certain things, and figure out, you know what, I've been doing this for the last 2 weeks to a month and I've not got to where I needed to get to. So I'm going to tweak this. One of the things that I did with nutrition, Alex, was, I don't know if you remember this, so I lived with dad for a while, as you know, but for the listeners, and I started meal prepping a mixed grill every day. And people were so concerned and worried about me. I don't know if you remember, I was about 8% body fat. I was fucking jacked and shredded, and I felt great. I was like borderline ketogenic. I was having no carbs, but I was having steak, chicken, lean burgers, lean sausages, gammon, and then onions, mushrooms, and peppers. And I just that like all in one Tupperware, no seasoning, no herbs, no spices. I didn't give a shit. No salt, no pepper, didn't care. And I'd just graze on it throughout the day. And it equated to something like 2,100 calories, maybe, I think it was. I think it was 2,160 or something like that. And I had it every day for a month and I felt fucking awesome. I felt unreal. It was so easy to do. I was getting my protein in. I was still getting veggies in. Oh, I'd also have fruit as well, but I'd have that at home. I wouldn't necessarily have it at work. And there was a lady that worked at the gym that I was at who I trained, and she would give me protein shakes. So I would either have just mixed grill in a Tupperware with some veggies, and then I would have additional protein shakes with water, occasionally milk, very rarely milk. But mate, that really worked for me. Would I advise to a client to do that? Probably not. Probably not most people, but
I would say that's pretty sick. I would definitely be up for doing that. Like, just maybe if you just reduce the meat portions a little bit and then threw a bit of rice or something in there, or and some more vegetables, like that's a mint diet. Like, what are you talking about? And so I just want to go back to, when you said about, you have to make mistakes to do something. I think for anyone out there that kind of thinks, oh, well, yeah, you've got to make mistakes to learn and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you have to find your own way. To a degree, yes. But is that a bit stupid when you've got someone who is a role model that is saying, right, like let's say you're following someone in particular. Like, if you wanted to be a better footballer and you go and speak to Cristiano Ronaldo and he tells you what to do, are you going to go back to your training ground with your club and go, right, listen, Cristiano Ronaldo said we do this, but what I'm going to do is do it better. I'm going to do this instead. And you change what he did from what he's recommended and you start doing your own thing. Like, are you fucking crazy? Like, are you absolutely stupid to the point where you're going to take advice from someone like that, someone that's at the elite, the pinnacle of where you want to get to, and you're going to ignore it? I would say follow their pathway until you get to the point where you can start making conscious decisions and better decisions and forging your own path and almost revolutionizing a little bit, rather than going and trying to reinvent the wheel from day one when you're a 15-year-old kid and you know nothing. Like, you know nothing.
So I'm actually really glad you said that, because that's literally the kind of mistake that I did. I'd get like perfect advice from someone like that. And naturally I would think, well, if they did that, well, I want to be better. So I'm going to do it this way. And yet I'd try and I think not just me, but a lot of people try and cheat the process by outworking it or doing more that isn't necessarily better.
Mm.
So they try and outdo it by working harder or doing more or making it more intense or whatever. And they just end up spaffing themselves and breaking themselves and blowing themselves to bits. Like, one of the things that I always did was I would look at a workout and I would go, like, so when I started discovering the programs online and you can see other people on YouTube doing workouts, and I go, right, they're doing 4 sets of 5 with 2 minutes rest in between, as heavy as possible. Well, what if I do 30 seconds rest in between?
Yeah, it's a different workout. It's a different workout.
Totally different stimulus. It's totally different stimulus. And then I realized, well, I'm not going to get strong by only having that 30-second rest. So I've coined a term, Alex. I don't know if I've told you this. Coined a term. It's called aerobia, you ever heard that before?
I have now. Go on, do you want to explain it?
Aerobia is a severe fear of aerobic exercise. I myself class myself as an anaerobic athlete, and I suffer with aerobia. Anything that lasts longer than 3 minutes or doesn't give sufficient recovery in between, it's not for me. It's not for me. I'll still do it, but it's it's taken me this long in my life to come to terms with the fact that I do have to face that sort of thing. So aerobia.
I think the key message here is like, if you're aspiring to be someone or achieve something, go and find someone who's already done it and rinse the crap out of them for any information. Like, find as many clues as you possibly can, find out the system and the secrets that they've got to get to where they are. Because I can guarantee, I mean, I know if someone comes and asks me about training, I'm going to splurge everything I possibly can. Like, it's just the way it is. Like, we just naturally want to help people, want to kind of have our influence on them and make sure that they're doing things the right way. Go and take what those people know and just put it into action. Just apply it. Do it frequently. Do it consistently. And just watch the results occur. And then when you get to the point of going, well, what would you do next? And they go, don't know. This is kind of where I'm at. Like, that point is where you want to start thinking and reinventing the wheel and trying things, and then start experimenting, then start tinkering. Like, I was listening to the commentary on the tennis the other day while I was sat eating my dinner at like 10 o'clock at night, because for whatever reason, Wimbledon decided they don't want to play before 1:30. And I think Djokovic was playing, and John McEnroe was talking, like, they were talking on commentary, like, oh, how good is Djokovic? The fact that, he always goes away, he always tinkers, he always changes things. And I mean, yeah, that's elite sport in a nutshell. Like, if you're at that level, you have to consistently experiment and adapt and dial in your game to be able to consistently achieve for such a long period of time. And even then, John McEnroe kind of pointed out, like, yeah, he's a marvel, like, he's a freak. Him, Federer, Nadal, a lot of them, like, they all go away, they experiment, they change things, and they're successful. But he says, if you don't think that everybody else on the professional circuit is doing that kind of thing and trying to dial in and trying to achieve that level, you're dead wrong. Like, everyone out there is scrapping and fighting to do it. So that's got to be a signal. Like, if everyone else out there is scrapping and fighting and experimenting and trying to find ways to do something, because no one's necessarily achieved that before, or they can't get those. Because, like, if you're a professional tennis player, they're like, you can't exactly go and approach Novak Djokovic and go, right, how do I beat you? Like, he's not going to tell you that. If he does, he's an idiot. Like, why would he do that? So you have to think about it yourself, and that's where you start to experiment. So don't experiment too early. Take lessons learned from people who have already got what you want to get. Find a coach, find a mentor, find a role model, follow them, do what they do what they preach, do what they tell you, do what they've done, and then start to break out of that eventually.
Yeah, and I think the roadblocks will naturally occur anyway, and that's when your experimentation starts. So because everyone is, I always say to people, obviously we are unique, we're individual, but we are all pretty much one and the same. But those roadblocks, if me and you were to train the exact same way, so I think you nailed it on the head there. And one of the reasons that I am the athlete that I am today is because I had to compete with you growing up. Like you said, otherwise I didn't eat, or I didn't get to go to school on time, or whatever it was. I had to compete against you, who was 2 years older, 2 years better, 2 years faster, 2 years stronger, 2 years more experience. And that made me way more athletic than all the people my age who hadn't been competing against anybody. So I was really lucky for that. But there became a point where I had to start doing things slightly differently, because I hit my wall doing the things that you'd been doing, and I learned that I liked other certain things, and you liked certain things over here, I liked certain things over here. And that meant that was then room for me to then go and play. I'd already built a very solid foundation. Now it's playtime.
Yeah, I love that. And I've just written down here, just based on what you've said there, experiment your individual roadblocks. like the circumstances specific to you. Experiment your way around those. Do not experiment the system.
Yes, perfect.
The system. Don't chase it. The system fucking works. No problems with the system. Plenty of people are successful with the system. Leave the fucking system alone. Go and experiment with your own individual roadblocks. Like if mum isn't cooking you the right food, well, you go and cook it your damn self. If you have other commitments that mean you have to be at certain places at certain times, experiment your way around those. If you've not got the gym equipment you necessarily need, experiment your way around that. Figure your shit out. That's where you experiment on the individual micro level, not the entire fucking system.
That's it, man. That's it.
That's a perfect.
That's the secret in the sauce.
That is the secret. Spices for the sauce. What I would say as well is, like, we are coming to the end of this episode. We always appreciate you tuning in and listening and chilling out with us whilst we bitch and moan for a few hours and talk smack against anyone and everyone that's doing it wrong. As always, if you've enjoyed the episode, please like it, share it, subscribe to the podcast because it really helps us and gets more and more people listening and doing the right things. And if you want to tune in on YouTube, you can see Chris and all the funny faces that he pulls in the messy room that he's currently sat in his kit locker at the gym.
Bathroom.
Also, I need to remind you, this episode will be going live before this event, but tickets may have sold out. I hope they have. If they have, screw you, should have been earlier. You should be following me on Instagram and checking in on these situations. The tickets for the GB versus France American football game are live. You can access those. So if you need a link for that, get over to my Instagram, buy your damn tickets. Chris, have you bought your tickets yet?
I have not.
Son of a gun. There we go. Go and buy your tickets, Chris. And then the other thing that you need to keep your eyes out for is me and Chris are going to be launching a 2-week challenge. We are going to be absolutely blasting the balls of whoever wants to step forward.
Blasting the balls.
All right, maybe not blasting the balls, but we will be blasting anyone that chooses to step forward and wants a challenge of working with us for 2 weeks. There will be opportunities to apply for that. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. Make sure you get over to follow us on Instagram. Alex_Lenkowski_performance and Chris_Lenkowski_performance. Go follow, sign up to our weekly newsletter, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out all the usual shit, and we will be back again soon. Peace out. Have a great week. Love you all. Goodbye. Lenko out.